hitting a game winner, but we start with the late game, which was the Lakers and Anthony Davis going off for 42 points, 12 rebounds. Jalen, what did you see from AD?
I like LeBron being the OG at the park, just falling back and letting this young boy cook. And so for AD, it was like, I got a center guard me? Yeah, Rudy Gobert's defensive player of the year, but he shouldn't be able to guard me at the 3-line, drive by him. Shouldn't be able to guard me at the 3-line, step back, three-pointer, made, and one. It was his night. It was a terrific bounce-back performance after he struggled against the multiple defenders of the Toronto Raptors. But on paper, especially out on the floor in one-on-one situations, the Utah Jazz don't have the bodies that are either tall enough or agile enough to guard Anthony Davis. And once he got going, he was unstoppable at that point.
He really proposes a matchup problem for most teams in the league. But, Jalen, watching this game, it was good for the Lakers to get their second win in the bubble after they got dominated by the Raptors on Saturday. However, it was a little concerning. Like, if you look at the final score, it might seem like the Lakers were winning wire to wire, but this was pretty tight throughout against a shorthanded Jazz team. And something that I've always wondered through this bubble scenario is, all right, we know we're going to get from AD. We know we're going to get from LeBron. LeBron's coasting, by the way. We can talk about that later. But what are we going to get from the others? What are we going to get from Kuzma, Danny Green, KCP? And this is what we've gotten so far. Kuzma's had some moments, but he's also had some very questionable decisions on offense. KCP and Danny Green just haven't really done much this far. What do you think about that?
So first and foremost, don't start hedging your bet now. Don't start hedging your bet. You and a lot of multimedia personalities and fans knew once the Lakers got off the airplane that Avery Bradley was not going to be with the team. Don't let the first thing come out of your mouth like, oh, I'm concerned about the Lakers. So does that mean you're not picking them to win the West anymore?
Jalen, don't turn into this person. Don't turn into this person. What I'm saying is I watched the game last night. I don't like to stay up that late. And if you watch this, you go, oh, 42 from AD, that was great. But you know what? It was neck and neck throughout until about the end of the third quarter when they went on a big run with LeBron on the bench, by the way. Dion Waiters was a major contributor. But I will say that it wasn't a great win for the Lakers. It wasn't like a dominant, like, oh, they're back, they're great. Oh, this looks like the best team in basketball. That's not what they looked like last night against a shorthanded Jazz team without one of their key pieces in Bogdanovich. I'm not hedging anything. I'm picking the Lakers to win.
I agree.
Simple as that.
There you go. I'm not hedging anything.
I'm not going to go off. I'm going to watch the game and then analyze it. Like, I'm not just going to, like, change my opinion based on a Jazz game.
Okay. I'm just saying, like, I saw Caruso struggle a couple of games in the bubble, in particular defensively. Even though he's a really good athlete, he's been a step slow on a couple of assignments. Same with Kyle Kuzma. Both of those guys have been put in a lot of actions. Committed a couple of fouls that you don't want to see going forward. You want to see more from Danny Green, like you just said. KCP is going to be a big factor. But like I told you, when you look at the chessboard, the Lakers don't have a closing lineup. That's going to be their issue. The team that it's played the most together had only been 15 minutes this year. And that featured Caruso and Kuzma and KCP with AD and LeBron. Not even Danny Green or Kuzma or Bradley. That's why I feel like the Los Angeles Clippers are in pole position to win the West.
Well, Jalen, you and I are going to go back and forth about this Lakers-Clippers thing for the next 3 months, but we can both look at each other and be friends and admit this. It's very close. Like, it is very close between these two teams, and you know it. And I will also say this.
By the way, one team has LeBron James, and you know what happens if he gets going like he did against the Golden State Warriors in the finals, where he led both teams in points, rebounds, assists, blocks, and steals, then I agree with you. All bets are off.
And I'm glad you brought up LeBron, because what I've seen from LeBron, especially what I will see moving forward, is he's kind of coasting. He's been very deferential, especially in the first half. It just sort of feels like he's just passing, trying to get other people confident, trying to get other people the ball, because we know what we're going to get from LeBron in the playoffs. And even AD, he's gone back and forth a little bit, but LeBron is coasting. He's coaching on the floor. And now that they have the number one seed locked up, I don't know what's going to happen now. Is he going to play less? It's really like he's just out there trying to get other people confident for the playoff run.
How about this? We're doing a television show on ESPN. This is my red carpet. So, of course, I'm going to get groomed. I'm going to look a lot different and a lot better right now than I am 2 hours after this show. Didn't you just say a couple of weeks ago that LeBron James had a gray beard and he's in a bubble and he's not with his wife or his kids? He ain't tripping off these 6 games. They just got the number 1 seed. He like, AD here, Dion here. Y'all get going. Y'all get us to the postseason. And so, yeah, they're going to idle his minutes and his opportunities down to play and see if they can get more productivity from a lot of the guys you mentioned, not named Anthony Davis.
Exactly. And I think he'll spend more of his time, instead of trying to win the game, which of course he's going to, but sort of trying to establish who is going to be that final closing 5. Jalen, moving on. Yesterday, we had an appearance on the program from Godfather Jalen. Take a look.
This is a direct violation of the code. You must be summoned to see the Godfather immediately.
That's Jalen with a piece of paper in his cheek. And then we put it on social, and LeBron James retweeted you, Jalen Rose.
Oh, that's love.
King James retweeted you.
Big shout, LeBron, in the bubble. And by the way, make sure you guys are voting. Make sure, mail-in vote. If you're eligible to do it, it's going to count the same. Make sure you are voting.
Jalen, moving on to another big game in the Western Conference last night. It was Ja for Zion, the Pelicans against the Grizzlies, and we finally got a glimpse of the Zion that we all wanted to see. You'll never believe this. He played over 15 minutes, scored 23 points, got a bunch of boards, looked energetic, looked spry. All of those and us that were counting Zion out after those first couple games, he showed up last night. What do you think about Zion?
I always encourage young people to play sports because a lot of times it challenges you in a way, especially as an adolescent, that you don't get in your normal life. Sports teaches you how to deal with adversity and success and how you handle it when either take place. Builds your character. And one of the things I saw from Zion until the second half of yesterday's game, Jacoby, he didn't have his confidence. When that game started, as a 6'8" player, Valanciunas was playing 5-10 feet off of him. You know what he didn't do? Think about shooting the ball. Like that didn't even cross his mind. That I don't care if it was a 3, I don't care if it was 18. That did not cross his mind because his confidence wasn't there. And all of a sudden, he drove in a couple of times. He got a couple of blocked. He missed a couple in close, and they was going the other way with him. And then before you know it, he caught a lob, and then he got a layup, and he got an offensive rebound. And then he started feeling better about himself. He started feeling better about his rhythm and started getting more energy plays. When they were backing off of him, he started to take up that space and attack. And that's who Zion needs to be, somebody that plays with force on both ends of the floor.
John Morant didn't have a great night, neither did the Grizzlies. And if you look at the run at the 8th seed, we always thought it would be a race to see who got to play in against the Grizzlies. But now the Grizzlies are legit in trouble of losing that number 8 spot. How do you see this playing out right now?
Well, here's the problem. There are 3 young squads, Kings, Pelicans, and Grizzlies. They would love to be in the playoffs. Yep. And that would say something for each of their organizations to make it because they each have young stars. And I put De'Aaron Fox in that conversation because he's a blur and probably the fastest player in the league with the ball. But then you got the grizzled vets. Did you see Pop in the bubble? Like, that's grizzled. You got DeMar DeRozan. He going to wake up tomorrow and get you 25. And then they're developing young talent and White and Murray and Lonnie Walker. So the Spurs are going to be there. And then all of a sudden, the Portland Trailblazers get Nurkic scoring over 30 and Melo hitting late threes. Yep. And we know what the Mama's Boys backcourt can do. So if I had to pick based on where we are now, and my initial choice, Memphis, dropped their first 3 games, this is a true opportunity for the Portland Trailblazers, worst case, to put themselves in a position for a play-in game. And then at that point, the bet would be, is Memphis able to win 1 game or is Portland able to win 2 games?
Well, we'll keep an eye on that. And right now, I hate to, but I have to compliment you. You always said that the X factor for the Denver Nuggets team would be Michael Porter Jr. because at the beginning of the season, you really truly didn't know what you were going to get from him. Such a high ceiling, but such an injury-riddled past. Well, last night, you know what you got from him? 37 points and 12 rebounds. What did you see from Michael Porter Jr. last night?
So for those that don't follow the collegiate game as intimately as I do, what ended up happening for the Denver Nuggets is they fell right outside of the 8th spot, and they were able to roll the dice on a player that had injury issues in college and get a late lottery talent for a guy that could have went in the top 3 at worst if he was healthy. And when you start putting a team together, who's compatible with your best player? No team in the NBA plays like the Nuggets. You know why? Because they're the only squad that literally has their center always initiating the offense in Jokic.
Yep.
He had a 30-point triple-double, David Jacoby. A 30-point triple-double in that game. And so now, who's going to fit next to him? Okay, Bol is developing. He's tall. He can block some shots. But Michael Porter Jr. has to be that gem because he's the guy that can shoot the 3. He's a guy that can play mid-range. He can play half-court transition. Here's another thing he's going to do. He's going to cut off the ball. See, I never got these as a player because I wasn't quick, couldn't jump, and I always had the ball. But you play with Jokic, and you have great court sense like Michael Porter does, and all of a sudden he's sliding to the basket, Jacoby getting little layups, getting little floaters, and all of a sudden his confidence going, and he burying jumpers. So I like what I saw, and that's the move. If somebody's going to upset one of the LA teams, I like what I saw from Houston. I know everybody gets really excited about these bubble games, and nobody loves Russ more than me, and James Harden is a fellow lefty. But there's a team that can beat one of the LA teams. It ain't the Rockets. It would be the Denver Nuggets if a team is able to do so.
Oh, I don't know. I really need to see Jamal Murray out there playing. You know what I mean? I really need to see Jamal Murray. I need to see Harris. I need Barton. Like, if they're at full strength, I would agree with you. But based on what I've seen thus far, I just need to see Murray out there. He's such a key part of what they do. There's so much more to the N-word when sort of repeating the N-word that one of his players used. He has apologized. Jalen, what do you think of all this?
I think that he should know in a position of leadership and as an adult that lives in the United States of America, in particular with the climate that we're dealing with right now, that this behavior is utterly unacceptable. And to the people in power who don't look like me, you probably get a slap on the wrist. You probably get a fine or things of that nature. But if people that look like me were in power when things like this happen, I think they will be dealt with a little harsher. And so I applaud the situation for allowing us to be able to discuss it and not necessarily brush it under the rug. But I want to see how his players handle it. That's what I want to see. And Jacoby, he may not be the only one. Stay tuned. I'm hearing that there possibly another Division I coach who's been disciplined for this type of behavior as well. Stay tuned.
You gonna say their name? You gonna say their name?
Stay tuned.
We will stay tuned. I will also say this for people that look like me. I don't care if you're repeating a rap lyric or if you're quoting what somebody said. Just don't put those syllables together. It's that simple. Just do not do it in the shower when you're singing along to Drake. Don't do it by yourself. Don't do it in a crowd. Don't do it around just white people. Don't do it around a diverse crowd. Just do not do it. It's not hard. Moving on. The Seahawks are eyeing a potential all-pro wide receiver. Keep moving or hit the brakes.
I think AB stay more in line with the Ravens because his cousin is there, but I think the upside in Seattle is better. Keep it moving for now.
We keep it moving. We keep it moving.
You would never believe how the Broncos enter the practice field. Keep moving or hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes.
Take a look at this. They've got like a full-on car wash thing going on where they get sprayed down by sanitizer. I'm all for safety protocols. I'm all for it. Even if it helps a little tiny bit, I'm for it. But this doesn't seem to be the most effective way to keep COVID-19 out of the locker room. Jalen, your thoughts?
It's a safety measure, and we got to applaud it. And anybody that's followed this show over the last 10 years, you know I'm somebody that talks a lot about hygiene and about people coming in and out of places and not washing their hands, and another person on this show playing basketball and not taking showers afterwards and then not taking a shower the next day. So I applaud these measures.
I haven't showered for 2 days. Moving on. Derek Jeter has a odd explanation for the Marlins COVID-19 outbreak. Keep moving or hit the brakes.
This is going to continue to happen. We see it with the Cardinals right now. Keep it moving.
We keep it moving. We keep it moving.
TJ Warren did it again.
CC is his nickname.
Don't
Cash
you dare keep moving on this one.
Warren.
I'm going to say hit the brakes. I'm going to say hit the brakes. He had 34 and 11. He's averaging like 42 points in the bubble. I love TJ Warren so much.
He been getting buckets since he was 2.
Fact. Jalen, Dana White had an update on Conor McGregor's next fight. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Conor not fighting this year. I know that. Keep it moving for now.
We keep it moving. Okay. We keep it moving.
Katie Ledecky did something amazing in a pool.
Hit the brakes. I like amazing things.
Katie Ledecky, gold medalist, she decided for some reason to put a glass of chocolate milk on her head while using a snorkel and swim the length of the pool without spilling a drop of chocolate milk. My question for you is not, can you do this? My question for you is, could you confidently swim the length of the pool?
Yeah, I can swim the length of the pool.
I'm not saying
doggy
you can't
paddle.
swim.
I'll park flop. I'll get to the other side. It wouldn't be that smooth. You couldn't put anything on me and not expect it to fall. But her balance and her discipline and being able to swim without spilling the milk, that is like, there are people that couldn't walk that far without spilling it, let alone swim in a pool.
If I find out that this is a paid advertisement by chocolate milk intended to make people like us put it on the program, I'm going to be so mad. So mad. Finally, I have an update on your Detroit Pistons. Keep moving or hit the brakes.
The brakes.
J. Cole, Master P said J. Cole is working out to get into the NBA, and the Pistons heard about this and said, hey, we love to offer people opportunities, and they offered him a tryout. Jalen, how desperate and embarrassing is it that the Pistons are going to offer J. Cole a tryout? Come on, we all know the Pistons are bad. They're so bad they want J. Cole to come try out? Oh, gosh.
Shout to the OG Master P and my nephew, Romeo. They do a terrific job of always having some great business and opportunities in the entrepreneurial spirit. J. Cole got game. You see him working out with Chris Brinkley in LA, in New York City, coming off screens, doing flares. You think you got more game than J. Cole? Is that what I'm hearing? Is that what I'm hearing? Do you think you can beat J. Cole in basketball while he's rocking his Pumas? I don't think so. Do you think you can beat him in one-on-one?
Jalen, I can barely beat my 7-year-old son at one-on-one. I'm not saying I can beat J. Cole. I'm saying J. Cole is not going to be an NBA player. While he is a great basketball player. Why are you saying that?
Why are you? The shoe is called Dreamer.
How about this? We'll see if he's in the NBA next year. We'll see.
Master P hooped and played a couple of games. He did.
He didn't play a single regular season game. So
there are
he did not play a single regular season game.
There are a lot of levels to this.
Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen, last time we saw Shake Milton. He was not playing well. He was arguing with Joel Embiid. He was interjected into the starting lineup, though not really performing well. It was a problem. But, Jalen, what happened last night with Shake Milton?
New Edition taught us growing up can be a pain. A young fella in the league trying to figure it out, playing with 2 perennial all-stars. They're required to play better in the postseason than they did in the regular season. But if he does not make that shot, things look a lot different. So I'm happy for the young fella stepping up when his team needed him the most, especially on a broken play.
Shake Milton hitting a game-winning shot to turn the tides for the 76ers in the bubble. And we have another game. The Raptors just keep rolling. They keep rolling, taking out Titan after Titan. Last night, it was the Heat, and they were powered by Van Vliet. What do you think of Van Vliet's career high?
I think Masai Ujiri, the only black president in the NBA, did a terrific job of creating a team that has an identity. They're not all name brand, but Fred Van Vliet, Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, the resurgence of Marc Gasol, as well as Serge Ibaka, guys that are grizzled vets, along with the guy that's been there the longest, Kyle Lowry, the defending world champions that had a better record this year without Kawhi Leonard.
We'll be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. with more NBA to break down. Make sure you listen to our podcast, subscribe to it. Dan Le Batard and Highly Questionable.
Thank you.